Hi guys, thought I'd do this replay as another shipped one. Haven't really played the New York for ages, had the ship for quite a while. Just recently started playing it again, and yeah, quite a decent game. I'm really tempted to go all the way on the American Battleship line, and one day I will remember to you doing this. It's kind of the reason I'm sort of halfway up there at the moment, is that they do seem very decent, and I kind of like the mix of good armour, good guns on them, even if they're not the quickest. The Wyoming and New York, the Wyoming being the tier 4, do seem to get an awful lot of stick. I found the Wyoming to be okay, to be honest. I did pretty well in it, and it's sluggish. It's very, very sluggish, but other than that, the guns aren't bad, etc. I didn't find it to be too terrible at all. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't keep it, but it wasn't bad. The New York, again, gets a lot of stick, and it's not great, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's overpowered, but it's not terrible. I think it's got, I think it's 14-inch guns on it. Yeah, I think the 14-inch, which for tier 5 is decent. As you can see, it's 5 turrets, twins on each one. The range is what really, really makes this thing strong. As you can see on there, 20.9 kilometre range. Okay, it doesn't have spotting aircraft, but 20.9 kilometres for a tier 5. You know, my King George V, which tier 7 doesn't have that. You know, it's got very good range on it. The accuracy's okay. However, the vertical variation I find that the Sigma on this is bad. Now, at range, that's not a huge thing because obviously you want that spread anyway to try and hit your stuff. But you really notice it around about 8 kilometres where you're trying to get citadel hits. You're quite often splashing into water or it's sailing over the top, and you'll notice that in this game that yeah, you know, like a German battleship up close is very effective. This thing, that variation becomes quite noticeable. So, as you can see, it's just really me on this side at the moment taking the lead, and you've got Pete Mitchell sort of yelling at me to get back. He's in the battleship just to the sort of southeast, I think, sort of B6 coming across. So all I've done is cut to half throttle. This are all in range anyway, so yeah, it's game on. And Koenig, very nice. I don't have one, but it looks like a good German battleship, the Koenig. Very good AA, very good armour. Not great at range, but once it starts getting up close, it seems to be quite decent. Which is kind of the pattern for all the German battleships. Excuse me. So as you can see, A's getting capped. No surprise for guessing who's doing that. I've now got a cruiser and another battleship with me, and it's a target-rich environment. I love that phrase. Yeah, plenty of things for me to shoot at, and I think I'm out of range of most of them, which is why nothing's really shooting back at me. And this is where the New York's strong. Okay, it's slow, but the gun range just makes it, you know, and especially being able to lay down 10 rounds. It's that was a poor shot. Basically, the Congo there, it slowed right the way down, started to accelerate, and I just completely misjudged how quickly it'd accelerate. Suddenly, it's about brand alert time. 6 kilometres Clemson. I do hard starboard here because obviously, if you go hard to the port to the left, you're cutting across where he's going to be firing his torpedoes if he hasn't already fired them. So by doing starboard, I'm turning, getting out of there. Obviously, it helps because my guns are angled that way. And that's a big hit. I mean, that's 5 over penetrations, 1 proper penetration. That's quite a lucky damage roll, I would say. But I'm forcing him around about now. I reckon he's probably launching. So I'm asking for help from a team while I'm trying to get reloaded. And as you can see, I've reloaded high explosives on this. Most of the time with the New York, I don't bother with HEs, but something like a destroyer, if you can load HEs, it's better. You know, you're not going to get the over penetration issues and things like that. So yeah, turning and running. Which is kind of always a bizarre sight, seeing a battleship running away from a team little destroyer, but... And there we go. That'll do nicely. So there's his torpedoes. Now, I didn't realise, but he'd managed to get enough around to fire his port side torpedoes as well. And I'm mentally going, oh, do I turn back round port or starboard when suddenly this little lot comes at me? And yeah, not going to be able to dodge that one. But 6,500 damage, worth it for a dead destroyer. So now I can turn around. As you can see, I'm now 6 kilometres behind the Kaiser and facing the wrong way. So even at full throttle, I'm going to be playing catch up for most of the rest of this thing. So excuse me. So the good news, both their destroyers are dead, so I don't need to worry about them anymore. It looks like our guys are pushing into A, and there's not much there. So rather than me going directly for A, I need to get south. I need to start trying to get these guns in range of the stuff to the south, which is where most of their ships appear to be. Sorry, I have to apologise. I've got a bit of a cold. So I'm obviously still heading at A just to be able to get the guns round to bear on this Dunkirk. Koenig, sorry, apologies. But as you can see, the gun traverse is very poor on this. It's painful. And also the arc isn't great. Your forward firing arc is quite limited. You've got to be pretty much 45, 60 degrees on before you can get your rear turrets on stuff. So yeah, it does have limitations, but yeah, when you can get the guns firing, it's a hell of a gun platform, this thing. Just a very slow one, as you can see by the speed. The armour's okay. You can get Citadel, but not often. It stacks up alright, I think. So what we got now? We've got Karlsruhe, if you pronounce it. A couple of pesky German cruisers there. They're clearly seeing something far more interesting down south, and they're heading down there fast. So yeah, as you can see, yeah, I'm struggling to get to 20 knots on this thing. It's not fast. Just a quick tip from me. See, my gunnery's not amazing on this at the moment, but although it doesn't show it in this replay, I've got markers on my aim reticle 5, 10, 15. You know, offsetting how much in front I'm leading the target. As a rule of thumb, if I'm firing at long range against a battleship, I'll generally be around about 10. I seem to find that with most guns against most battleships, that generally is around about the mark. If it's a fast battleship like a German one, maybe take it up to 12 or 13. If it's particularly slow, you might want to drop it to 9 or maybe even 8. And obviously the guns you're firing do make a little bit of difference as well, but generally 10 as a rule of thumb works. And for cruisers, 15 generally seems to work. If it's fast, again, take it to 17 maybe. But 15 seems to be a good offset for that sort of 15 to 20 kilometre firing range. Obviously, as you get closer to them, those numbers need to come down. You know, as you saw with that destroyer, I was shooting them about, what, 3 or 4 degrees offset on them. Whereas at range, you know, you're looking closer to 17 to 20 degrees to even stand a remote chance of hitting them. So, yeah, it's a tip. I mean, that's obviously based on them sailing parallel to you. If they're heading towards you or away from you, you need to drop that number slightly. So rather than 10, you may be at 8 if it's coming at a 30 degree angle or something like that. But yeah, it's just a tip that might help you. So game-wise, we're one ship down. We've got a cap, they're just about to cap one, so it's pretty close, I'd say. Could be anyone's. I'm hoping to get this Kirov. Kirov's Russian cruisers are... I mean, some terrible shooting going on here. I'm just keep misjudging it completely. I find the Russian cruisers to be very dangerous if you let them be. They're, you know, since they've nerfed fire a bit, they're not as dangerous as they used to be. That still, they can lay down a hell of a lot of firepower very quickly, and especially with HE, just keep missing him. They're particularly dangerous. I mean, that's how much I'm trying to offset him. That's close to 15. I think I'm aiming at that. Yeah, somebody got him, unfortunately. So yeah, it's looking alright. Four down each. I'm still nowhere near getting in the fight, but I'm at least, because of the gun range, able to shoot at stuff. Just not very accurately. So we've got another one of these Karlsruhe, so if he carries on, that should hit him. But don't know whether it's because of the bombing or other things shooting at him, but as you can see on the map, he's done a hard right and he's getting out of there. So another one giving up on. So yeah, not really a spectacular game so far. I mean, 15 hits isn't bad. 2 kills. It's okay, but yeah, 16,000 damage is low. Yeah, it's definitely nothing to write home about. And the shooting is not exactly exceptional. I would say the vast majority of this is me just not aiming very well at stuff. Some of it's a little bit of RNG with the shells not being accurate, but yeah, it's round about now where I finally start getting some accurate gunning, and it could be because of the range. You know, down to 15 kilometers now rather than the extreme 20 kilometers where it really does. The shells do go all over the place, and yeah, you're having to lead them quite a bit. But yeah, you can see now they're coming in quite nicely. They're overpenning against the Congo, which is the Japanese battleship. Very quick, very good range on its guns, but its armour's not great. So yeah, happy to stick with AP, especially with him being broadside air. You'll look at 10,000 that one, 4 penetrating hits. That's lovely. And he carries on broadside, which is kind of bizarre. Clearly he's fixated on someone, and yeah, just happy to take the pounding. Now you see those two shots hit the water, but still one of them penetrated, and again there. So they're just hitting the water just in front of him. So the shell's then carrying on into the side of the ship underneath the water. When you get closer, that's really where you should be aiming, is just below the waterline to try and get the citadels. The vast majority of the citadels under the water on these battleships. At this range, to be honest, with the plunging shells, it's just lucky that they're still penetrating. You really need to be aiming almost for the deck, or the upper side hull. So yeah, I've turned it there just to try and get as much gun time on this ship as I can before the island got in the way. And finally the island's in the way, so now I have to do the long turn to port. And it's around about now where on the map I've suddenly been left alone. We've played chase all game, and yes, my friend has now buggered off back to E6 and is heading back to join the carrier and the rest of the fleet. So I'm on my own, but there's no destroyers. If there was destroyers, I'd be, and I didn't know where the destroyers were, I'd be a bit anxious now, because obviously a lone battleship is a yeah, you're in trouble against destroyers if they're any good. But yeah, we're just cruisers and battleships. I'm still happy to soldier on. Although, as you can see by the scores, we're down to 5 ships versus their 7. Yeah, and they've got a 70 point lead on us as well. So it's not looking great now. We've got 2 caps, which will sort of eat away at their lead a little bit, but it's more the ship lossing. Yeah, that's what's really going to start hurting us, especially in ships when you start getting a tipping point where one side gets a few more ships than the other, and you can sort of get that focused gunfire. It can prove quite decisive. So I am decided I'm going to have to be really aggressive on this. I've still got really good health. A lot of their ships haven't, and there's squishy cruisers and things like that out there that hopefully I can lay some smackdown on. So I've got a Fury Attacker, Japanese cruiser. Dreadful guns. They've improved them twice now, and they're still, I think, fairly weak. The strength of the Japanese cruiser line, and especially the Fury Attacker, is the torpedoes. Very good torpedoes. I think they're even possibly 10-kilometer range. I could be wrong on that. Maybe only 8 at this stage. By the way, I want to get him before he gets beyond the island. And it's getting a bit tight. There we go, finally. But as you can see, very squishy. Now I've slowed right the way down there because, as I say, he's got torpedoes. I'm fairly confident he'd have launched them at me. And if you can keep changing speed, changing course, it just makes it harder for enemy ships to get those big nasty broadsides on you and stuff when you're sort of exposed like this. So we're up against, who's that? That was the Nassau, the Tier 3 battleship. Oh, there's those torpedoes. So yeah, they must have been 10 kilometers from to coming in at that range. And who have we got here? The Wyoming Tier 4 battleship. Very sluggish, but other than that, I thought the Wyoming was okay. Like I said, just get a massive panning on the forums from quite a few people. But so again, that's 20 kilometer range. You can see it gives you a hell of a dispersion on the shells. But you know, if you're firing 12, throw enough shit at a barn, some of it sticks. Yeah, he's right at the limit of my range, obviously sailing away. Oh, there's Nassau just briefly flashed up. Now me against a Tier 3, I like those odds. I like being a bully. So you can see I'm hardly leading him at all there. Aiming for sort of round about the front gun turret area, which I've just knocked out temporarily. But you see there, see what I mean about the Sigma on this thing? Even though we're down to 4 kilometers, the shells you know, two of them hit the water in front of them and stuff, you really notice that inaccuracy in the guns with this when you're starting to get to this range where you're trying to get an accurate citadel hit on ships. So I've decided to go a little bit more midships and aim a little bit higher, just to actually start trying to get some damage on him. And there you go, that's a nice big 10,000 hit. And the secondary set him on fire. Although to be fair to him, his guns are hurting. Yeah, look at that, no citadels, just can't get through a citadel even though he's 2 tiers below me, which is quite shocking. And I'm just bullying him here, there's no finesse in it at all, it's just outright bigger guns, bigger armour. And just unable to really nail him, which quite surprised me. I was expecting a couple of easy citadels on him, to be honest, and there we go, finally got him. I don't know whether it's because he was angling wellish, or I was unlucky, or yeah, I don't know what, but yeah, or his armour is just very good, but yeah, just wasn't able to get a citadel on him there. Anyway, so we're down to 3 ships apiece now, and we've got 2 caps, they've got 1. We've pulled it back, it's looking good. And shockingly enough, that was my 4th kill. So that's good. Now, oh dear. Looking at the map, see the torpedo bombers coming in. Start to turn. Okay, I'm aiming, but I'm very aware of those torpedo bombers. I've got the full lock on. And I suddenly realise it's not going to make any difference. If I did do the right turn, I wouldn't be able to get this Iron Duke, and I really want to sort of try and get him, so I'm going to have to eat a torpedo. There we go, 5,000 damage, that's not catastrophic. Now if we can get this Iron Duke, this is good. So what's he on health-wise? 10,000, right. So, Iron Duke, if he knows what he's doing, he should be spamming HE. Certainly against me at this range. They're a typical British battleship with the sort of very short fuse and the arm piercing. So, and look at that, he's firing AP. Oh dear. Definitely not what to fire against a battleship facing you. I mean, even side on, to be honest, I've not had to. With the Iron Duke, it's relatively big caliber guns for its tier. So AP side on, you can have some success against battleships, but not huge amounts. And yeah, when you look at the fire percentages on the Iron Duke's HE rounds, and especially front on against a battleship, he should be just firing HE at me there. I don't know quite why he's sticking to AP. I think I've misjudged that. Have I let him too much? Oh no, that's not too bad. Oh, how close? 1,400. Ah! Now is he going to get behind the island? Nope, but suddenly I am going to get behind the island if I don't slow down. So yeah, suddenly hit the brakes, trying to get those rear turrets swing around. I don't want to ram the island because those torpedo bombers are straight ahead of me. And there's another battleship facing me, so sandwich myself in the island. Decent AA. Right, here we go. Come on, come on. Oh no, there's a hill in the way. Can I hit him? So 957 on the scores. Oh, he's reappeared. That battleship's dead. I don't know why I'm lingering that way. Oh, I was looking for the carrier. Can I get a shot on him? Can I get a shot on him? He's on 1,400 health. Most of my shots hit the hill there. Yes. And right at the end there, crack him. Always good to have. So that was, yeah, a tier 5 battleship in probably the best setup you can hope for in a sort of tier 3 to 5 game. So yeah, fairly lucky, and I think it showed what the New York's good at in terms of just firepower, while also showing a bit of its limitations in terms of the fact it's fairly sluggish, so you've got to really, well, don't rely on the speed basically, but the range of the guns mean you can really contribute even if you're not right up at the front of the fight. So yeah, finished top with 5 kills and 1,800 experience. Look at that, 175,000 credits, 278 battle premium account. That's a good money earner. And these are the things that damage. So yeah, 107,000 damage caused. So although I fired a hell of a lot of shots, let's have a look. 210 shells fired. Hit 1 in 4, which isn't as bad as it actually felt. I felt like I've missed a hell of a lot, but yeah, 25% accuracy rate is not great. But yeah, 100,000 damage with it. And yeah, as you can see, the armour held up. 17 HE hits for only 660 and 32 AP hits for 27,000. Yeah, she's not a bad ship. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll try and do another video at some point soon. Take care.